I don't have to do anything. That's simple and easy. Okay, I mean, you just decide you want one share, more shares than one, because you can have as many as you want. Now, to give you some idea, every Ethereum mining contract that I bought 8 months ago for $1,000 has already paid me out more than $7,500 in Ethereum. Now, understand the price of Ethereum has gone through the roof, okay? But it just had a correction because it went up to roughly 400. Now it's down to around 300. And you're going to see that. The price of Bitcoin will go up, it'll come down, will go up, it'll come down. That's actually a real sign that it's real, because the price is being affected by different factors. One is scarcity, which is what initially drove the price of Bitcoin up back in 2013. Remember when it went up to, over $1,000 a coin? Now the reality is that multiple going from roughly 100 to 1,000 was not the biggest bubble. Previously, we had seen Bitcoin go up, not to 1,000, but based on where it was when it went up, it was a bigger multiple than going from roughly 100 to over 1,000, right? And of course, a lot of interest has been stimulated by the fact that in January, Bitcoin went back to over 1,000 coins. And today, I don't know what it is at this moment in time, but somewhere between 2,600 and 2,700 a coin. And it went up to 3,000 recently, and then it went down. Okay, because it really shouldn't have gone up to 3,000. Why? Because when you see a jump that significant over such a short period of time, there's other factors than what should really be establishing the price value. But it's kind of like real estate. When do people usually want to buy real estate? When the price goes up. You buy when it's down. You sell when it's high. So what happens is a lot of people saw the price going up, a lot of people started buying, and you had a lot of institutional investing. Big institutions buying large amounts of Bitcoin. Well, demand drives price. And then when it hit that, it went down. Why? Because a lot of people took profits. So I tell people, don't worry about the ups and downs. I buy it to hold it. I mine it to hold it. I don't sell Bitcoin.
You're not doing exchange?
I don't have the time myself personally to play those kinds of games, to make a little money here and a little money there. Now, I don't want to sound arrogant, okay? But I'm earning well over 100 Bitcoin every month. Well over. But I don't want to tell you how much. but I think you can figure out what 100 Bitcoin's worth today, right?
Are you mining Bitcoin and Ethereum?
I mine Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum Classic, Monero Dash, Zcash. Yeah. As a matter of fact, we mine today roughly 10% of the world's Ethereum supply.
Through your club?
Yeah, through our company.
Yeah. So you don't have to buy any of the gear, maintain any of the ASICs, any of that? It's just contract based?
Our partner is Bitmain, which is the largest Bitcoin mining pool in the world. They're private. You can't mine with them. Okay? But they're the largest in the world. And they mine for themselves, but they also have produced hardware that we as miners buy. Now, we've been buying all of our equipment from them for over 3 years. And we actually prepay for all their equipment that they'll sell us a year in advance. So there is no availability for the chips we're running. Only they and Bitfury, who also is in the hardware business as well as the second largest privately held Bitcoin mining pool in the world. That's the company Sir Richard Branson has invested way big money. I mean, tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars. So when I talk to people, I try to find out, what is their objective. Because myself, I like to diversify. For a long time, all I had was Bitcoin. But then I started getting into Ethereum when I knew, because, I get to hang out with the real experts in the world. As a matter of fact, I was understanding the organizer here knows Roger Ver. He's definitely one of the experts with Bitcoin bitcoinmining.com. In fact, I was having a meal with him and some of my partners. Oh yeah, yeah. He works very. No, in Tokyo. Yeah, we were having wagyu for that dinner. There were 9 or 10 of us. It was like almost $8,000. Well, wagyu is really good, but it's really expensive. But yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy.
You went to Japan?
Oh, many times. Many times. I actually travel all over the world. But in addition to my own mining, I've helped a lot of people who wanted to get into mining. Because when you look at who we are, we're now the 3rd largest private Bitcoin mining pool in the world. And when you look at how much Zcash, we mine 25% of the world's Zcash. We mine 10%, and over the course of the next, I'm going to be realistic and conservative. Within the next 6 months, we'll probably be mining between 20 and 25% of the world's Ethereum. We're growing that fast. The reason we're growing so fast is because we're not greedy. We allow people like us to get involved. It's kind of like a crowdfunding. So we, as members, actually own BitClub Network. We own the equipment. So as more people find out and want to get into mining, that's bringing in more money. I mean, this month we'll generate from just the sales of mining contracts $70 to $80 million a month. Now, of course, we're mining, obviously, all of this as well, but everything that I talk to people about, you can verify and document everything because it's all public information on the blockchain. You can see every Bitcoin that we've mined, and on the Ethereum blockchain, you can see every Ethereum coin that we've mined. You can see where we paid for the equipment. You can visit our facilities.
Where are they?
We have mining facilities in Iceland that we share with Bitfury. We have mining facilities in China that we share with Bitmain. And we also have mining facilities now in Russia that we share with Genesis Mining. Yeah.
Have you been to all those places?
Yeah.
That's cool. Great story.
Well, you know, this has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I tell people it can be the best thing that ever happened to you because now is the time to really get positioned.
I was just going to ask, do you feel like the boat sailed?
The boat hasn't even left the dock. Yeah, it hasn't even left the dock.
How long have you been mining?
We've been mining now for a little over 3 years. And in 3 years, we've grown that big, that fast. But again, it's because we've shared the wealth. And of course, documentation beats conversation. When people see, so in other words, to kind of, I talked about Ethereum. Let me talk about Bitcoin. If you get into Bitcoin mining with us, we do something that's very unique and very, very powerful that no one else does. Because of the efficiency and the mining power that we have, we get a disproportionate share of Bitcoins on every block as opposed to the other miners. And that's also true of Bitfury, I gotta be fair. It's also true of Bitmain because they and us are the only ones running the S9 computers with the 16 nanometer chips. So if we get into a gunfight and I have a bigger gun and I have a faster gun and more guns and more ammunition, it's not a fair fight, right? So that's kind of how I sum up what we can offer people. But because we're mining at a higher percentage, we take a small percentage of your daily rewards because you get paid daily. You don't have to wait. You get paid every single day.
By
now,
check?
No, by Bitcoin going into your wallet. Yeah, we only pay in Bitcoin. We only accept Bitcoin. So if you want a mining share, you pay for it with Bitcoin. Now, if you don't have Bitcoin, you talk to someone who either has Bitcoin or helps you get a wallet set up, and then you can buy Bitcoin from people who sell Bitcoin, whether it's the exchanges or whether you buy it from one of the local Bitcoin guys, because they're global. You know, they're part of a dealer network. You can see how many transactions they've done, their customer satisfaction ratio. Now, just like going to a Bitcoin ATM machine, which my friend Wes owns a bunch of them, if you go to a Bitcoin ATM or you go to local Bitcoins, for the ease in which you can get those Bitcoins, I mean, it's fast, easy, simple. you're going to pay a little premium for that service, as opposed to what you could buy it from, say, one of the exchanges for. And the exchanges are going to make you jump through hoops. You know, they're only going to allow you to buy so much. And I don't know how much you want to buy, but it's actually easier to sell Bitcoin than it is to buy it. Now, people laugh when they hear me say that, but although I don't sell Bitcoin, I could sell my Bitcoin like that. In fact, on my wallet, on my phone, I have a wallet on my phone, and I carry between $40,000 and $50,000 worth of Bitcoin on that wallet. It's my emergency fund. I'm never going to spend it, but if I needed to, I can buy an airline ticket, I can pay for a hotel, I can basically buy anything. In fact, one of my friends just bought, I live in Bali now, Indonesia, and the Bali Lamborghini dealership, you can buy a Lamborghini with Bitcoin, and he just did. Yeah, 85 Bitcoin, that's all it costs.
Is this invite only, or is it open to the public?
Well, yes and no. Okay, we are by definition a private exclusive club owned by the membership. So if you became a member, because it costs a lot to become a member. It costs $99 worth of Bitcoin. It's not a lot, right? I mean, anybody can come up with $99, right?
Oh, I thought you said 99 Bitcoin. No?
Oh, no. Not $99 of Bitcoin. So that's not a lot of Bitcoin, right? And that's a lifetime membership, one time. And that gives you everything you need. That gives you your own personal private website, all of the full accounting, all the ledgers, your Bitcoin wallet, training. I mean, so much value for $99. I mean, it's like, we got to charge something. But, you know, we're not trying to make our money off selling a membership, obviously, for $99 one time. Where we all win is when we're mining together, because we understand the power of a collective. It gives us more buying power, which is how we've been able to grow and become what we've become. So if you wanted to get a Bitcoin mining share, you could buy a full share or you could buy a partial share. A full share is $3,500, which is a little more than a Bitcoin today. Right? What does that mean? Well, it means that within 10 days, we have allocated the equipment for you. And you will receive your pro rata share along with all the other members every single day thereafter for the rest of your life.
It's a one-time.
Now, the reason we're able to do that is because the initial contract that you buy, it lasts for 1,000 days, which is shy of 3 years. Now, before that 1,000 days expires, you have automatically, you don't have to even worry about it, it's done for you. A small percentage that you're earning from your Bitcoin mining, the majority is going into your wallet, but a small percentage starts repurchasing another contract. So in your first year from one contract, you will earn roughly, and I'd rather be conservative, you might earn frankly more. Historically, we've all earned more than this. So when I tell you you can buy it for just over 1 Bitcoin, would you be glad to know that you'd probably turn 1 Bitcoin into 3 Bitcoin in a year?
That's the ROI.
It's not an absolute science, okay? Because we're all fighting one another to, you know, solve the math, the algorithm, to be awarded the Bitcoin. And some days we're luckier than other days. So some days we will generate more Bitcoin for our members, and the next day we might generate less. The next day we might generate more. I mean, so you have to look at it in terms of an average. So that's why I tell people, even though I've earned more than 3, I tell people probably around 3.
I'm sorry, did you say a period of time?
1 year.
1 year.
Okay, but think about this. You not only got your original investment back, plus the additional Bitcoin, you've purchased another mining share. So in the second year, you're now getting paid on 2 shares. So in the second year, you're going to earn twice as many Bitcoin as you did your first year. So by the time you get down to the end of the second year, even though I've earned more, I'm going to give you a conservative number. By the time you get down to the end of the second year, because you're earning on 2 contracts, you've got what you've already earned in year 1, plus now you're going to get what you're earning from 2 contracts. So at the end of 2 years, you're going to be setting on, let's say, between 8 to 10 Bitcoin. Probably more, but 8 to 10 Bitcoin. Now, we all know that the price of Bitcoin is going up. The reality is that most people within the Bitcoin community expects Bitcoin to go over 13,000 a coin as early as the end of February or March of this coming year.
What was that again?
The price of Bitcoin is expected. There's no guarantees, but with the adoption rate, which is what's really driving the price now. Because I said there's 3 things that really affect the price. One is scarcity, and that's true of everything, whether it's diamonds or gold, scarcity. Well, every 210,000 blocks, which occur about every 4 years, the Bitcoin rewards half. So when Bitcoin was first produced from the people that were mining starting in January of 2009, for the next 210,000 blocks, all the miners were getting 50 Bitcoin. And then around the beginning of 2013, it halved and it went to 25. The last time it halved was last year, which was in July. And it went to 12 and a half. It'll half again in the year 2020 and it'll go to 6 1/4. So every halving, which occurs every 210,000 blocks, which is roughly 4 years, the Bitcoin miners are receiving less and less Bitcoin. Now it's okay, don't feel sorry for us or for yourselves, because we're all miners now, because the price of Bitcoin is going up. Remember, the first halving occurred prior to the spike where it went to 1,000. Because that was the first halving, a lot of people went out and acquired a lot of Bitcoin. So the buying volume drove the price up higher than it should have driven it up. Well, obviously a lot of people took profits, and so the price came down, didn't it? And it stayed pretty stable for a long time. As a matter of fact, 18 months ago roughly, no, it's more than 18 months, back in October of 2015, maybe even November of 2015, you could have bought Bitcoin for $250 a coin. A year ago, last June, you could have bought it for under $500 a coin. So last year, myself, as an example, was earning more than $100,000 a month in Bitcoin. But was I really? Now think about $100,000 worth of Bitcoin every month. If it's $500 a coin when you're earning it, and today it's over $2,500, I was really earning how much money last year? $500,000 a month. Now, when it goes to 10,000, 10,000 is 20 times more than 500. So that 100,000 that I was earning monthly a year ago, when it goes to 10,000, which it will next year, that you can take to the bank. That's really like earning how much money? $2 million a month. And that's passive residual income. So when asked, is Bitcoin mining a good thing? Well, it's been a good thing for me. And it could probably be a good thing for you too. Now, you may be small or you may be big, or you may start out small and then buy more. Because I buy more mining contracts myself every month. I buy 10 to 15 mining contracts every month. Because I don't want all these Bitcoin just sitting there. So I invest a percentage into buying more mining contracts that are going to pay me for the rest of my life. And then you can leave it to your kids or your grandkids, because we're going to be mining Bitcoin into the year 2140.
Are some of the other mining, like Ethereum, are they less expensive than the $3,500 to get in?
Yeah, they're 1,000. Those contracts are only 1,000. But if you can't buy a Bitcoin mining share for 3,500, you could buy a partial share for 500. And then you could buy a larger share until you own a full share. So not everyone can start out with 3,500, but most people can start out with at least 500.
Were you at the highest?
I'm sorry?
Were you at the highest?
Yeah, I was. Did you see me?
No, I wasn't there.
Oh, you missed me?
Yeah, I missed it.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, we met everyone, and then we went up to my suite, and it was quieter up there. So, you know, a lot of noise downstairs. Sorry I missed you, though. Yeah, I just came into town. I just flew in from Rome. I took a 4-week vacation and traveled all over Italy, and then took a 2-week cruise around the Greek islands. And anyway, it's good to be able to do things like that, right? I mean, that's why we work, right? But this is the easiest money I've ever made because I'm just putting my money to work, or my Bitcoins to work. So if you want to get involved in Bitcoin, these are two friends of mine here locally. This is Wes and Kenny. So, you know, they can help guide you, you know, along the path.
What about our own coin you said was coming out?
Well, it's already come out.
It has.
We introduced our own coin, which is called Club Coin. And the reason we launched our own coin was because we wanted to tie in a customer loyalty and rewards program to our global merchant platform, because more and more businesses are starting to accept Bitcoin. So we have invested millions of dollars to create a platform that, unlike Coinbase and BitPay, is no middleman. Because Bitcoin, one of the reasons people love Bitcoin is you don't need the bank. You don't need PayPal or Western Union. I can send you Bitcoin, you can send him Bitcoin, we can send Bitcoin to someone in China. Anywhere in the world, we don't need anybody's permission, it's just between us, and it costs pennies, and it only takes seconds to minutes to send that. So it's no wonder that it's gaining in popularity. And coming back, I never finished what I started. The three major reasons that we're seeing the price of Bitcoin go up, originally it was scarcity. And then it became more people's faith, trust, and confidence. Because Bitcoin has been challenged, you know, in the beginning, the banks who were threatened and the governments who were threatened tried to stop it. But you can't stop it. I didn't realize that years ago. I learned that when I really began to understand blockchain technology and the encryption process of Bitcoin, but mainly because it's a decentralized platform. Nobody owns it. Therefore, no one can control it or manipulate it like everything else, because there's a lot of fake digital coins out there.
Back to your coin, is it running on your own blockchain or is it running on Ethereum?
No, it's running on our own blockchain. And it's tied into this merchant platform that we're about to release. We could have released it earlier this year, but what happened in January when the price of Bitcoin went up to 1,000, it woke a lot of people up. And, you know, I can understand why, because a lot of people got excited when it went to 1,000 the last time, but then got disappointed because they didn't understand why it went down. And now that it's back up, and it kept going up and up and up, you know, people that were naysayers before saying, oh, you know, that's a scam, or they don't know what they're talking about, but you're always going to have naysayers. It's like, I love BMWs, but you can find good stuff about BMWs on the internet, you can find bad stuff. Depends on, you know, what you want to believe. I tell people, look, find out for yourself. Don't take anybody's word for nothing. You owe it to yourself to start educating yourself. Because when you start educating yourself, you're going to start accumulating as much Bitcoin, and Ethereum is good too. But the Ethereum blockchain is not as solid and robust as the blockchain for Bitcoin. That means that there's the potential for some risk, and I'm not saying it's going to, you know, crash, but it doesn't have the track record. It's not proven yet. Now, once they fix a few things, it'll become more solid, more reliable, more dependable. Because when you're running the number of transactions they're running right now, everything's usually hunky-dory. But when all of a sudden you put a lot of stress on things, that's when you start to see hiccups and breakdowns and glitches. It can happen. But overall, I'm definitely a believer in Ethereum. But I have most of my wealth tied up in Bitcoin.
Now, if I was to start today, would you still recommend Bitcoin over the Ethereum? Even today, after...
If you had to choose,
Yeah.
I would choose Bitcoin over. Because think of it this way. If Bitcoin goes to 13,000 a coin, let's say by the middle of next year, maybe it doesn't happen the end of February, 1st of March. Maybe it's in the summer. What if it's in December of next year? if you're getting Bitcoin today at this price, and it goes to 13, 14, 15,000 next year, have you made money? A lot. So there's, obviously everyone's entitled to an opinion. And I'm not going to argue with someone that says, hey, buying and holding Bitcoin is a great investment, because it is. It's a great investment. But the way I look at it is, if I go out and I buy 10 Bitcoin, I know it's going to go up in value. But if I go out and use 10 Bitcoin to buy 10 mining contracts, I'm going to be paid Bitcoin for the rest of my life. And a lot more Bitcoin the first year than what it costs to get into mining.
That mining contract you said is good for...
The reason that we pay in perpetuity is because even though your initial contract expires, the automatic repurchase is buying another one that's good for 1,000 days, and then another one that's good for 1,000 days. That's something that we do that's very, very powerful and unique to us. No one else is doing that. So a lot of information, but if you got questions, let me try to answer those questions to help you out.
You need to get your website, you need to get your phone number.
Okay.
Your card.
I think Wes has his on him. This is actually his meeting. I'm just here meeting with Michael here, like everybody else is wanting to do.
Because I'm retired. I've always traveled when I vacation to beautiful tropical paradise islands. So if I'm going to retire, now I will never retire because I've already been there, done that. I'm now semi-retired. I got to have something to occupy. I can't sit in a wheelchair or in a beach chair. I go crazy. So I just get up when I want to get up, and I go where I want to go, and I do what I want to do. That's my definition of retirement.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, let me add one last thing in closing. Are you aware that the experts believe that in your lifetime, you're going to see Bitcoin go to over $1 million a coin? Keep in mind, there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin in the world.
When did you say that year was? 20?
Well, some believe it could happen within the next 10 years. I don't know if it'll happen in the next 10 years or not, because some think it'll take a little longer, some think 10 years, some are very optimistic and think sooner than 10 years. But here's what I can tell you. It will go to $1 million a coin in your lifetime, and probably in yours. I don't know how old you are, but I just turned 59. So I know that it's going to go to $1 million a coin in my lifetime, because I plan on living a long time. Now, you think about this. When people hear that, they're like, how could one Bitcoin be worth $1 million? Well, I relate it to a dollar bill, because most people know that a dollar bill has how many pennies? 100. Do you know how many pennies are in a Bitcoin? Now, they're not called pennies. They're called satoshis or microbits.
Microbits?
Microbits. But do you know how many are in one Bitcoin? 100 million. So if one microbit becomes worth 1 penny, a Bitcoin is $1 million. So I usually ask people this question. If you will start on a path to start to educate yourself, if you knew half of what I know right now as an example, you would have no doubt in your mind that Bitcoin will go to $1 million in your lifetime. So the question is, how many Bitcoin do you want to accumulate between now and the time that happens? Because accumulating Bitcoin when it's $1 million a coin is going to be too late. Right now, it's a bargain price. Because think about it this way. Anytime someone sets up a Bitcoin wallet, which anybody can do anywhere in the world, they now have their own private bank. They can send and receive, and think about all the people that come to the U.S., or I used to live in Dubai, that come to Dubai from the Philippines or India or Africa to work. And then they send money home to the family. In Dubai, Western Union charges almost 30% to send money back to Africa. Now, if you made $1,000, because they get paid really good wages, but if you made $1,000 and you wanted to send it back home, if you're in Dubai, that's going to cost you about $300, highway robbery. The average is around 9 to 10%. You know, some places being less and some places, but the average is around 10%. Now, every single person that's working hard for their money, that's sending money back to their family, could send them Bitcoin without having to use a third party, without having to verify who they are, where the money came from, or where the money's going, or what they're going to use it for. You know, they invade our privacy. And they could send it immediately, not have to wait. It would get there immediately, and it would cost pennies.
And they access it from their home wherever they are.
So the reality is that if you look at that market, because they're collecting over $1 billion in fees, that's over a $10 billion industry, just remittances, you know, going back home. If we didn't convert anyone else and we just converted all those people, the price of Bitcoin today would already be over $500,000 a coin. Now, obviously, more and more people are using and adopting Bitcoin. So as that adoption rate goes up, here's another way to look at it. If you go back over 1,000 years ago, how did you pay for things? Well, barter, true, but gold and silver, right? And then the banks and governments thought, you know what? We should have people give us their gold and silver and we'll give them paper money. That went over really well. It took over 400 years for people to accept it and it become mainstream. The last money revolution occurred with credit cards, because the first credit cards were introduced the late 50s, early 60s, and they were store specific. You know, you had a Sears and Roebuck card, but you could only use it at Sears and Roebuck. And of course, it took 50 years for credit cards to become mainstream. Now, most people in the world today still don't have credit cards, right? And most people don't have bank accounts, right? But with Bitcoin, that changes all that. 20 years ago, as I was traveling, not every business accepted credit cards. Today, every restaurant, every business accepts credit card. It's mainstream. But it took over 50 years for it to become mainstream. The money revolution that is occurring right now is digital currency. And I try to educate people on the difference between digital and cryptocurrency. Because a lot of people say they have a cryptocurrency, but it's not. It's just digital. Because Bitcoin was not the first digital currency. There were 2 digital currencies introduced before Bitcoin. They failed. And a lot have come after Bitcoin that have failed. More will come and more will fail. And here's why. They're not encrypted. They're not decentralized, meaning they can be controlled and manipulated. There's no proof of work. There's no distributed network that's maintaining accountability and checks and balances, that's verifying and documenting the transactions and documenting them on the blockchain and confirming the transactions. That's why Bitcoin has become as popular as it's become. They were the first to do that. Now you have others like Ethereum and a few other legitimate cryptocurrencies. But most of the digital currencies that exist in the world today just miraculously appeared. No proof of work, no proof of stake. You know, somebody just said, hey, let's create 300 digital coins and they're worth this. But nobody wants them because they don't trust them and never will. There's no accountability.
How can you tell which ones are crypto and which ones are digital?
Well, you have to ask the questions. You ask for proof. You ask for documentation. You know, is it a proof of work coin? Is it a decentralized platform? Is it a distributed network? You know, do they have their own blockchain? Because Ethereum blockchain and Bitcoin blockchain are different.